Hello, so we are back again. Just basically celebrating an announcement that was made today from Donnie Yen on his official social media that his John Wick spin off, Kane, is finally in production. Of course, it was announced a good while back, and of course, the announcement came, and then time passed, and there was never really any other update, really. But finally, boom, we got word not so long ago that filming was expected to start in April. Obviously, it didn't state when in April, but sure enough, Donnie Yen posted today, here we go, and shows the clapperboard with the slate on it. Cameras are rolling, and I think there's a lot to be excited about as far as that film goes. I love the John Wick films. I really do. I love the whole world, and the ballerina, the John Wick spin-off we got with Anna de Armas. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that for what it was. I mean, I'll hold my hands up and say it's not. I wouldn't consider it in the same league as the Wick, as like the primary Wick films, but I thought it had a lot going for it, and it had some spectacular sequences in it, and it just gets you excited about the possibilities. But this one, the Donnie Yen one, I think there's a lot to be excited for here. I mean, there may be something to be said in that the Donnie Yen one should have been the first one out of the gate, maybe, because of course there's no denying that the ballerina, it wasn't a big hit at the box office by any means. It underperformed. Whereas I think the Donnie Yen spin off, certainly off the strength of what we've seen in John Wick 4, I think that would have done, that would have been the one to lead with. But it doesn't matter. This is where we are. The good thing is we've finally got some tangibility to it. The fact that we know, okay, cameras are rolling, the ship is sailing. So hopefully, of course, it's early enough this year that we can reasonably expect a release next year, if that makes sense. Much like the Highlander thing. Obviously, we're well on with Highlander now, so it's reasonable to expect a release next year. I'm in a previous video. I said that it looks like Highlander's following much the same schedule that Masters of the Universe is. Masters of the Universe started its filming early last year, and of course that's set to release in June. Highland has done essentially the same thing, started filming at the end of January, and it's obviously well on through production now. Reasonable to expect a summer release for next year. And then this is going into production now. So, I mean, depending on obviously some films are going to take longer to make than others, of course. But the Donnie Yen Kane spin off, I mean, they could get this done in and out in a real short space of time. So maybe we could have a summer release next year, or maybe they might have it maybe more in the fall, winter. Who knows? I mean, it's one of those. If everything hits the ground running and they go from beat to beat to beat, and everything runs smoothly, maybe it could be a summer movie next year. I mean, you think, well, they've got a comfortable year. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But there's a lot to be excited about. But I just wanted to take a moment to just kind of stop and appreciate where we are. Like Highlander, a film that I've been anticipating for more than 10 years. It's finally upon us. Obviously, we've recently had the CinemaCon presentation where they announced they're about halfway. They're officially at the halfway mark. So that's well on its way. Of course, they've got finishing filming in Scotland, then going to go on to Hong Kong and apparently Poland. So you gotta believe there's going to be some World War Two stuff that they've got planned, which will be interesting. And then, of course, now we've got the Donnie and John Wick spin off. So it's got all of these incredible projects. Just take a moment to appreciate, like, where we are, because when we're sat in the cinema, and we're ready, geared up to watch it, we can just think back and you know, remember that date when it was announced, and like for example, I'll never forget the date when Highlander, when Henry Cavill dropped the first official look at Highlander, because I was on my way home from Doncaster. I was in York train station at the time, and there was that announcement about the closures in London, for planned Highlander filming, and then I'm on the train back from York, and then I just casually click on to X, and I see the post, Henry Cavill the Henry Cavill post. But when you see something and you don't think it's real, but then you click on Henry Cavill's actual Instagram page, and there it is, it's happening. Yeah, so the 28th of January, I'll never forget that. And then, of course, that was the date again with the Batista connection and the Amazon Prime connection, the date that The Wrecking Crew was released. So I kind of got home. I was all, high on life. And I was like, okay, let's go watch The Wrecking Crew. But it's nice to have like these moments. And it was a similar thing today. It's like, the announcement about Donnie Yen's film, Rolling Cameras, had to go over to confirm. Oh yeah, on Donnie Yen's Instagram, there it is. Because that's one of the things, sometimes you're always second guessing yourself when you see things on social media now. Is it real? Is it not? But oh no, it's very real. But it's so... again, obviously there's a lot of... It's easy for things to get you down, and it's easy to just get fed up and burnt out on things. But then in some ways you just stop and you take a moment to think, and in some ways we live in... I always love the quote from Robert Meyer Burnett, we live in wondrous times. We really do, in a sense, in the sense that we've got a real wealth and embarrassment of riches, in terms of like some of the things that are coming along, i.e., the Highlander film that's finally, after years and years, more than a decade of waiting, it's coming. The Donnie Yen thing, after it was announced a couple of years back and then nothing, and then finally, boom. Of course, obviously, I've dedicated a lot of videos on this channel talking about, the potential of the Bruce Lee's Game of Death being completed through the wonders of AI. Obviously, the great work that Neon Flux is doing. But then, of course, even just what we've got lined up for this year, Mortal Kombat is weeks away. We're getting a Mortal Kombat movie and a Street Fighter movie in the same year. I am so G'd up for both of those films. I'm very, very excited for them. And then, of course, Henry Cavill's film In the Grey that's been sat on a shelf 2-3 years. Finally, we're getting that at long last. And there's just so much to be excited for. And then, even in terms of... so that's like theatrical stuff, but even in terms of like the great physical media releases that we've been getting, through the likes of Arrow, 88 Films, Eureka, and other labels like Radiance, and like for example, obviously two I would like to just use as shining examples that have been released recently. Hard Boiled and The Killer, these gorgeous, gorgeous releases from Arrow. These kind of, we were waiting, and better waiting for definitive Blu-ray releases for these films, and of course, Shout Factory got, well, they signed the deal initially, didn't they, with to get the catalogue, and then obviously they've since made agreements with, obviously over here in the UK, Arrow, and we've got these wonderful releases from the Golden Princess catalogue. So we've got obviously this gorgeous, and again, you just look at the quality, what's in there, and then Hard Boiled, and then of course The Killer that's just came out in the past few days, just absolutely gorgeous stuff. Things that we've been waiting for and have like dreamed about for a long time. Like, wouldn't it be great to finally get this? And it's finally happening in a lot, in respect of a lot of these things we've been anticipating. But this was just kind of like a general checking in, just, if you ever like, because we all have rough patches and we all feel low, and sometimes you can be going along just fine, and then for whatever reason you hit a wall and you can become so disillusioned and burnt out with things. But then if you just like I just try to get into the habit of kind of like stop and think about, all of the wealth of the embarrassment of riches that we've had so far, i.e., these babies and so many other releases from the boutique labels, and then obviously stuff that's coming down the pipeline as well. Obviously stuff that's in the chamber ready to go, like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, and then obviously stuff that's in the works, like Highland as well, on its way now, and then of course the Donnie Yen Kane spin-off. But what's also exciting in relation to those is you never know now, when you click online, is there going to be a new like photo, or is someone going to have captured some footage? Like obviously we've got some great stuff from Highlander while they've been filming in London, and now obviously while they've been in Scotland, there's been certain things that have been captured, which is great. It's so exciting to see. Like there was that great shot of them at the castle, and they're all obviously in full Highlander get up, marching along the bridge, almost shot for shot. That's what in the original '86 movie, and it's so cool to see. It just makes you feel good when you just know that great stuff's coming, and then of course that's coming. We know it's coming this year. We don't know when, but we know it's coming. Finally, an official Blu-ray and 4K release of Fright Night Part 2. One of the holy grails. You talk about things that we thought we might never ever get, but we're getting it. Is it Synapse and Red Shirt? I know definitely Synapse is involved with it, and some of the artwork that they've released as well. Obviously we've got different variations. Obviously they're going to do a couple of different ones that you can choose. I particularly like, there's one, I think it's by Sean Longmore, who's done a lot of like the Hong Kong stuff recently. Really like a lot of his artwork, but I think the art he's done for Fright Night Part 2, I think that's the one I'm going to go with. It's like the white background one, and it's got obviously Charlie and Regine with her in the red dress. It's cool. I mean, all of them are cool in their own way, but I think that's the one that's really jumped out at me. So I'm just waiting in anticipation for that one. I just pre-ordered. Imprint Films are doing a great release of Escape to Athena. That comes out about mid-May. I pre-ordered that from Imprint. So that'll be coming from Australia. Also got that with the other imprint release that they did for Crossplot, another Roger Moore movie. So that'll be a great double bill when they both arrive. And also, Studio Canal, they've got their own line, like the Studio Canal Classics range. And on Monday, The Man Who Haunted Himself, Roger Moore's film from 1970, that's been released. I pre-ordered that last night, so that'll be here on Monday, hopefully. So that's another thing. There's just so many wonderful things now. And then you just into like you look at just the appreciation for what we have, like the availability, even as far as like music and things go. Obviously, streaming, like for example, as far as like on the film thing, I just sat and watched that one for the first time this morning on Amazon Prime, Casino Raiders, with Andy Lau and Alan Tam and Rosamund Kwan. I hadn't seen that one before, but just again, it was there available to watch on Prime. It's like, let's sit down and watch this one. That was great. But yeah, even as far as like music goes, like one of my favorite, like two of my favorite artists. It's always difficult to pick one, but I love a lot of city pop, and you've got two big names from that era, Momoko Kikuchi and Akina Nakamori. But then you can just go straight onto YouTube Music and there's their official pages and it's got basically all of their discography there, just at a click of a button. You know, it's fantastic. So just I'm trying more and more. To appreciate. Like that whole thing of gratitude for what you've got. But it just we live in wondrous times. Robert Meyer Burnett has it right. Obviously, there's certain things that hopefully will work themselves out. We won't get into politics or things like that, but we can only hope. But in terms of like the embarrassment of riches that we have now, it's fantastic. So that's just something that hopefully might give you a little boost along the way. But yes, that was the main point of this. Donnie Yen's John Wick spin-off's finally in production. Let's get excited for that, and also just the potential of like the people who could show up in this. You know what I mean? Like if Donnie Yen decides, right, let's get some of the big names from Hong Kong action cinema in this, that could be incredible. Because obviously Donnie Yen goes way back, so he's worked with so many people over the years, so he could just call in favors, like you never know. And that's one of the great things as these movies have gone on, the John Wick films, there's always been like surprises along the way. Like when Wick 4 came out and it was announced, oh yeah, we're getting Donnie Yen and Hiroyuki Sanada together, that was just incredible for me. But hopefully we might get some exciting announcements as far as casting goes. Like again, if I could, if we're playing with house money, it'd be great if we could get like Michelle Yeoh, or again, we've talked like about getting Jackie Chan, Yun Biao, and Sammo Hung back together again, and obviously Jackie together with Michelle Yeoh again. But yeah, it's honestly it would be really really cool to see, and just there's a lot to look forward to. So that wraps this up. Again, just checking in. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.